moving on to Shardbluff Labyrinth. We only have, what, 2 regions left, and we are all done here. So
Yep.
thank you so much, Roger, for giving us your time here on this. And as ever, I want to make sure that everyone can see within the context of the Illuvidex where this next region is relative to the other regions. Everything you see in the Illuvidex is a placeholder number, and this is a work in progress. But tell us about Shardbluff.
Yeah, so Shardbluff is, at least in the game, one of the darkest regions. It's really rocky, and there's a lot of orange fungi kind of stuff going around that's trying to form the region. And I think the whole region itself is sort of shaped as if something blasted in it. So everything is sort of moved into one direction, into up a hill, creating this one enormous peak. It's the highest peak of all of Illuvium.
Okay. So it's the
Yeah.
Mount Everest of Illuvium, if you will, is what we're kind of looking at right here.
Pretty much, yeah.
But probably bigger, because in Illuvium we do things bigger.
Mount Everest.
So if you want to check this
nothing.
out on the Illuvidex when you get access, you just pull down the menu and pull up Shardbluff, and then you'll be able to go look at all the land in there. But it's so much easier to see what we're talking about if we actually just go take a look at that concept art. And if you guys are just joining us right now, we're with Roger, lead concept artist of Illuvium, obviously working with a team of talented people as well to create a lot of what you're seeing today. Let's bring up some of the Shardbluff Labyrinth art. And here we go. Yet another part of the Illuvium color spectrum. We have yet to see yellow in the previous regions that we've reviewed today. Now we're seeing some prominent yellowish, orangish color. So once again, more visual variety. What are we looking at here?
Well, we're at Nulls Point. Like if we're looking from the player's perspective, like right behind us is basically the obelisk, and Nulls Point is sort of like this flat, sandy area, and there's like cracks in the ground where that filled up with water. And we're looking into like a wall of basically stone shards that got shot up from the ground and sort of like pushed backwards. So everything is sort of like tilted into a certain direction towards the highest peak, which is called the Panoramic, which we'll get to in the next slides.
Here it is. This is the climb to the Panoramic. So where is the Panoramic in the shot?
It's all the way in the back. And
got it. So back here you're referring to? This is the Panoramic back here?
I think it's actually missing in the shot.
Okay. No, so this is the climb on the way there. So we can't see it yet.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool. This whole region, the idea for this is that there's this fungus that's growing everywhere, and some of these shards of stone shards are sort of tilted in directions that don't really make too much sense. Mm-hmm. And the explorers think that might have to do with this fungi actually sort of holding these things together. So you get all these crazy shapes that are actually still, almost defying physics, that they're still standing, but it's probably because a certain type of fungi sort of took hold of the whole shard and sort of like crammed it, keeps it in place.
Players will have to explore and find out for themselves. And
here
we go. It looks like now we're heading toward a Panoramic.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Well, yeah, this is the daring climb up to the highest peak of Illuvium. It's almost only just like one area of Shardbluff, but it's a very rewarding climb to make it all the way up there and look out over the world, basically.
Unlike Everest, you'll have triple jumps and some extra technology that can help you make it up there. So you probably won't have to camp on the way up. Yeah. Wow, look at the just swirling clouds. It just looks so forbidding, sort of foreboding maybe is the word I'm looking for. But it just looks like it's so ominous, and also, like you're mentioning, would be so rewarding to make it across all of this to reach the top.
To reach the top, indeed. And something that's also pretty funny fact about the a lot of these sort of fungus-like thingies.
Mm-hmm. Is most you're referring to these yellow fungus here? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, more like the rooty systems underneath, and sometimes that are sort of engulfing around pillars. They're sort of allergic to light. So they usually crawl away in places where there's no light.
Interesting. Okay. Write that down, gamers. You might need to go explore something. Maybe Roger's trying to hint at something there.
Yeah.
All right. And then here's west of Nulls Point, where we find Hullfelt. So tell me about this.
Yeah, this is a pretty weird area. There's like these groups of pillars that sort of form together. and they're sort of like all tilting towards one another. So there's something in between of them that's sort of doing that. That's probably why there's the light coming out of it as well. And the funny thing is with the
so the light
ground,
you're referring to is right here. This bluish, kind of indigo-ish light is what you're referring to. Okay.
yeah. And the funny thing about basically the whole area around these is that they're are filled with blood moss, is what they're called, and it's like this tiny capsules.
Blood moth?
Moss.
Moss. Blood moss. Got it. Okay.
Yes. And there's like these tiny capsules that as soon as you step on them, they sort of release a gas. So you got to try and find your way around to actually make it across without stepping on one of those sort of like mines.
Got it. So I'm going to put this in my top 5 areas in Illuvium that will kill you list. This one's going to go up toward the top, I think.
Maybe, yeah.
It's beautiful. Maybe. It's beautiful, and also dangers lurk around every corner. And wow, here's some variety for you. I mean, this is kind of reminding me a little bit of Halcyon Sea, a little bit in the color palette and what we're experiencing here. Tell me about these pillars.
This is when you're actually inside of one of those groups. The reason why the light is like this is because if you would go a little bit further, you would find out. But I thought that it wouldn't be right to already show that to people. So
got it. So we'll let folks discover what's through the blue mist here and deeper inside.
Yeah. You can look at her going like, what's there? You know, I want to see what that is. That's kind of like inviting somehow.
All right, people got to play the game to go in there and find out. Shardbluff Labyrinth. We aren't going to give you the answers on where this labyrinth leads. You need to find them yourself. And here's closed moon gate entrance to what's the pronunciation of this? It's Header. Heiter. Perfect. Yes. Back to that yellow color palette. What are we looking at?
Well, this is basically the pillars, or a whole bunch of pillars that are collapsed on one another, which means that you can't really get through. But as I hinted earlier towards the thing about the light, that might come in play here.
We won't say anything more. And then here's an above shot. Wow. Yeah. I mean, we looked earlier at bright line steps, the traversal opportunities, to parkour around. Here we go. Start here. Boing, 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 boing. Look at how fun the traversal would be in here. Maybe dangerous too. But it looks like it's just set up for fun and danger at the same time.
Exactly. You don't want to sort of like plan to land on something that all of a sudden, almost when you're there, cross away or deflates, or
that would be bad.
Yeah, then you end up in the magma. Get to start over.
Look at this magma right here. Liquid hot. Very, very cool. And there's the magma vents referring to earlier. Looking to find deposits down here, of course, but don't fall in the magma.
Yeah.
This is really interesting.
Exactly. It's
very cool.
These are very cool structures. They're like props to the concept team, to Alexis, to Kendrick, to Vincent, everybody. They're amazing to work with. So there's so little I have to do, and they do these amazing things. It's awesome.
I love the multi-layered aspect of it. So you could be on the ground level down here, then you could jump to this layer here, and then go up to the higher layer up there. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of tactical movement that you will have to make within this space, which will keep the variety high as you're grinding this region.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. And then here's the Mubble fields in Spillfelt. These are wild. What is this?
Yeah, so basically this is a different fungi type that actually sort of takes a pillar, grows inside of it, and eventually sort of cracks it open. And they sort of, trap the sort of gas underneath, and they actually start to look into form almost a mushroom kind of thing. But it's actually the sides are stone. They're super weird. And they release a gas that's heavier than air, so it falls down. And most of the time when they would, for example, when something light flashes or whatever, it would release that gas, because that gas also then blocks light from the stuff that's growing underneath.
Very interesting. And then there are cracks and chasms in this area, and giving us another angle here. Yeah. So I love that there's, I hate the buzzword verticality, but also like Illuvium has verticality where you can explore upward and you can explore downward. So these chasms down here, looks like our ranger is on the precipice here looking down at what may be below.
Yes. And you can actually go in there. I wouldn't go maybe into the gas too long, stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot to explore there. It's the whole area is cracked open, and there's tunnels everywhere, and it's a pretty cool region to be in.
Wild. And there it is inside. God, just take a look at the scale once again, friends. There's our teeny tiny ranger back there. And then here's the area. And look, all these little platforms for you to parkour through this area and traverse.
Exactly. Yep.
It's very, cool. Very cool. And then now here we are moving to a new area into the Delta within within Shardbluff Labyrinth. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so the idea for this region is that it's lower than the obelisk. So from Nulls Point, you would actually go down. And this region is sometimes flooded. For example, when a Leviathan comes too close to shore, it breaks the ocean basically and sends a massive wave towards the land. And this area is so low that it would then sort of like get flooded, completely smashed. That's why all the pillars here are smashed and things are broken, and these weird clam-like creatures, plants, are living here trying to trap things that wash up the shore. And there's a whole thing that you can do with these as well. So.
Which we're not going to say what it is, but it's almost like the water or the tides that you're talking about coming in destroy, but also they provide opportunities for life at the same time, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. And this is more views of the Delta region. And I guess this is post-flood, I guess we would say.
Yeah, this is probably, right after it happened. And the water is sort of like falling between the cracks back to the ocean. And things are left, maybe. If you look sort of like to the up left, that's sort of like the above there would be the obelisk.
Up here.
Above that cliff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then if you look across, you see like all these broken kind of things. And that region is called the Lyra. I think that's on the next slide. Yeah, and then you see all these crazy broken things, and it's actually a really deep descent from above with all these weird cracked and unstable pillars, which sort of bring you down toward like these flood pools area where you can try and make it across to an island that's right off the shore.
So for players that like a dark and moody region, I think Shardbluff Labyrinth is going to provide a lot of that dark moodiness with variety. And I'm really, really digging the darker colors, the darker tones with that nice yellow and orange pop off of that. It really is unique. And it's really
want to make it colorful, so it feels Illuvium better.
It's Illuvium. I mean, we're shooting you in freaking lasers in your eyes all the time with colors of that branding. So of course we need that there. That's super interesting. And here's a side view of the island of Zamia.
Yes. And you got to try and make it up there to actually sort of see what's on the other side. The path across would be somewhat difficult and to climb up. You can only climb
here up. Is what you're referring to.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And how you actually get up there will be sort of a bit of a mystery, and it will be difficult, but on the other side it's pretty cool.
Yep. Once again, we're being cagey. If you're just tuning in, we're being cagey on the details. We want you to discover.
We actually show it, I think, in the next slide, but there's some stuff to it. I'm not going to say too much, but just making it across will be, hopefully somewhat difficult.
Well, I mean, if you're getting shot with pink lightning, I imagine that would increase difficulty. Just saying.
Yeah, I guess.
Once again, we're just giving you a sneak peek here, guys, just giving you the flavor and sort of what's interesting about these regions as you're kind of starting to ramp up your knowledge of them before you play and get engaged. And guys, that was it for that region.